I'd like to welcome you all to our concert this evening. It's great to see all of you here. It's really great to not have a snowstorm or something to be out driving to. It feels like that's happened at most of our concerts the last couple of years. So I'm happy for the sunshine. I'm going to try not to talk a whole lot once we get going, but I do have a little bit to say at the beginning. First of all, don't forget to silence your phones, and then I also ask that while the songs are being played, you don't talk and stay in your spots and wait to move around or visit in between songs. And then between the junior high and senior high bands, there will be a little bit of time because senior high can't go warm up while we're out here because you would hear it. So there's going to be a little break in between so that we can switch out the bands. And I just want to mention something tonight because we're doing something I've never done before, but we're trying something special. We have a tribute concert tonight, and as you can see, the pictures of the two gentlemen are here, and on the back side of your program, it talks about them a little bit. And I'm not going to read that to you. I'll let you read that. I just want to make a couple personal comments about that. And I know there could have been a lot more written in the program than what I had space for. But I do want to share a couple things. Russ Kent, I don't think I was working here a week, and he came in to see me up in the band room up there, and he came and visited so many times over the years, and he gave me so much input. He told me what the best tuba mouthpieces were to buy. He donated a bunch of instruments to the band for kids to use, and he even played one of our concerts. We did the Stars and the Stripes for Christmas, and I had no tuba in the band at that time. So he brought the big sousaphone, and he played along with the band a number of years ago. So a lot of great memories with Russ, and also I got to play with him just one time. We had a little jazz combo group that played at the Parade of Homes in Detroit Lakes around the holiday time, and we got stationed in a house and played when people were going through, and it was so much fun. He was on a string bass, and the stories, I got to give him a ride and bring him home, and he had the best stories ever. So I really treasure some of those memories. And then also, of course, I think a lot of you here have probably listened to Doc and the Scrubs over the years, and he was playing with them until the end there. So just some great memories about Russ, and he's just being a Waubun graduate and all he's done for our program and the donations and stuff. I thought it'd be fitting tonight to recognize him. And we have two songs in our program. The one in senior high band is the main dedication for Russ, and that's called the Blues March. And it has a mixture of blues and swing and a march and jazz. And so all kind of music that he played, we found it all in one song. So that song is being dedicated to him. And then in the junior high, we didn't really do so much of a dedication song as we found a song that kind of fit with his era. When he was, did I say that right? That doesn't sound right. Okay, sounds weird. But anyway, when he would have been their age, he would have been at junior high age, and we found that Anything Goes from a Broadway musical, and I'm sure came out and was popular when he was in junior high, so we thought that was maybe fitting to play kind of a song from when he was their age. And then I'll go on to Jim Johnston, also graduated from Waubun, and he did our music repairs. We can't find the records how far back, but from the early 80s, so over 40 years, he did our instrument repairs. And I'll tell you what, there's a little thing up by the bars and stuff that are for after a concert, and you see the prices there. Yeah, it's like triple that now, at least, if not more, to have the instruments repaired. And when he was doing our school instruments, he really gave us a good deal, and he really looked out for our school. And I think he did a lot of extra work without really charging us for it. We really appreciated that. And I have some more things about him on the program, and he also taught me how to do some fixing. I'm not very good at fixing a lot of things, but there was a few things that he taught me so I could do some quick fixes and not always have to send the instruments in, which was really helpful because I didn't really learn that in college, and I'm not the most, whatever you call it when you can fix things. That's not me, you know. Anyway, and then when he had a shop at Yale, I'd go down there with instruments, and my kids would come with, and my kids just loved it because he had this little mail slot, and they would like throw things out, and then they'd run around the music store. And one time he gave me a ukulele, and that was just a joy to have in our house because they all shared it very, very well. So, but I know that. And then when he moved his business out to his residence, that was really fun for me because then I got to know his family. I got to know Kathy and Gina, and I'd stop out there, drop off instruments, and I would get to sit around and visit, and they usually had some snacks, or a lot of times they even fed me supper, and I got to eat with them, and Kathy's a marvelous cook. So both of these gentlemen are really special to me also, and I think they're special to our community and to all the people that know them. And our songs for Jim, the first one is called the senior high doing is called Tripwire. And the reason we're doing that is because he was one of those guys that kind of jerry-rig anything and fix anything, and no matter what I brought to him, he was able to make it work again. So thinking of Tripwire, and I don't know, it just kind of seemed like something somebody needed to make a tripwire, he probably could figure out how to do it. And if he needed to avoid a tripwire, he could probably figure that out too. So that's our song for him. And then the junior high picked the 50s song, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, which was probably the kind of music he listened to when he was their age. And I think that is all. We're honored to have some of their family with us tonight in front, so thank you very much. And I also want to thank them also for the donations to our music program, the band program. We have on order, it takes a long time, a brand new bass clarinet. And that isn't here tonight yet, but we're very excited about that. We thank them for that donation as well. So, I think we're ready to play. The reeds are probably all dried out now. Okay, we're ready to get rolling with our second half of our concert this evening. We are missing a few people tonight due to different circumstances, like quite a few people. So these guys got it covered, but if it happens to sound like different, there won't be any holes. They got this. We'll be good. So enjoy the second part of the concert. We have one more song for this evening, and then you are sure welcome to stick around if you like and have some bars and coffee, and I don't know, did I tell you the lemonade story? So I mixed up 6 gallons of lemonade in this big pitcher, and the little button that you push, you know, to let it come out, it had a hole in it. So I mixed pouring lemonade in, and lemonade just squirting out of this hole. So I have 1 gallon of lemonade right now, and we'll kind of keep making some, but I didn't have any more pitchers, so all this lemonade is, I tried taping it and everything, and it kept leaking out, so there will be lemonade, but you might have to just take it in shifts anyway. And there is coffee, and I'll get some water out there too. So anyway, but stick around and visit, and thank you again to the Johnson family and the Kent family for being here tonight, and for all that you've done for us this evening, and thank you all for coming. It's been a fun evening. One song to send you on your way.